What's good, everybody? It's your girl Toya, host of Universal Teas, the People's Podcast, and this episode is called "The Vision is Still the Mission, Even If." So, friends, before we get into this episode, I would just like to say, hello, how are you? How is your week going? By the time you see this, it'll be Teas Tuesday, and I hope that you all are doing well, right? I hope you've acclimated to the year 2026 with a lot of intention, with a lot of hope. And even if you have not, guess what? You can start right now. Okay? You can make your own time, your own clock for when you start to do things, for when you decide to shift and change. And don't go off of these made up timelines to do so. I hope you all had a well-intentioned Valentine's Day filled with love for yourself, from yourself, and then out to others. I had a good one, me and my bae. We spent the day in Chicago just kicking it and enjoying each other's uninterrupted time and attention. I'm not feeling the best today, y'all. I must say that. But God told me to do this because my vision is the mission, even if I don't feel 100%. And so that's why I'm here. And getting into this episode, I want to be very clear that I'm living in this thing, right? And this episode, the vision is still the mission, even if, comes from the idea that we sometimes get tricked and tripped up to start to believe that what we know we've been called to do is no longer a part of our mission, right? We get tricked out of our calling. We get tricked out of our greatness. We get tricked out of doing the thing that we know we're called to do, even though we see it, even though we have the vision, even though it is clear to us, even though I've seen myself in my highest. Because of what life looks like right now at this surface level, I've kind of convinced myself that no longer is my thing. And so my push to you with this episode is to restore that drive within you, restore that fire in you, restore that willingness to go into whatever your vision is, right? And so what I want us to ground ourselves in before we get into this episode is understanding that yes, that vision is what you are called to do. Yes, that vision is what you've been assigned to fulfill. And yes, you can get there even if, right? So let's talk about it. Sometimes, like I've mentioned before, and my notes are right here, just so y'all kind of like, what is she looking at? I had to write my notes today. Like I said, my head's a little fuzzy. I'm not feeling the best, but bear with me. So what I was saying was, the vision that you have is still your mission, even if life has kind of gotten a little rocky, even if you've fallen off your square, even if things have happened in your lives to kind of push you away from it a little bit, you can always get back on that track. It is always yours. You know what I mean? And so sometimes we let life decide if our vision is really the mission for us. Right? We start to question ourselves. If I've taken too long because I've had a kid, because I've been divorced, because I had to move somewhere else, because my finances no longer support the dream that I have for myself, it must not be for me. It must have been a one-time thing. And this actually reminds me, right? Shout out to my friends and my people in my village. So one way that this has shown up for me very recently, and I think it was yesterday, or the day before. What's today? Valentine's Day wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. But one of my best friends, she sent me this flyer, right? The Chicago Sky, if you all know, I'm from Chicago, are having dance team auditions to dance for the Chicago Sky. Now, if you know me, you know that dance is a huge part of my life. I've danced from the ages 5 all the way to about 25. So more than half of my life I spent as a dancer, which makes my shirt make sense. See, it's a ballerina, and then what her feet actually look like. Y'all can't really see it, but my friend sent me this flyer, and I looked at it, and I kind of laughed, right? Because I haven't danced for real in a long time. I haven't been to an audition, been to a class. Listen, I ain't done a tendu, a plie, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I haven't done that in a while. So My friend who knows me, and this friend has actually been super supportive. Like high school, she would come to my dance performances with signs. College, same thing. She was at every show that she could make. And so she sent me this, and I told her, I was like, Auntie might be a little retired. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't know if I got it in me no more. And she was like, girl, even if you just go just to get in the element again, like go without the intention of like, if I'm going to make it, but just flex that muscle again because you got it. And when I tell you I was that girl when I was dancing, listen. So she was like, even if you just get into that world again, you might start to feel like yourself. Because I've been in this space where I'm in my career, you know, I'm missing something. I'm missing my creative side. I haven't done this thing. When I tell you, dance was a huge part of my life. Like my life structure for a long time centered around dance. And so she sent me this, and she was like, even if you get in there, it might take you out your head for a little bit. You might be able to tap back into parts of you that experienced joy, that were happy, that appreciated this type of challenge. And you don't have to go in with the intention of, if I'm going to make the team, just go in with the intention to kind of let a part of yourself live out freely. And so what that relates to as I speak in this episode is that dance was a huge part of my life. My creative part of my life was so huge for me that I've kind of deterred myself away from it, so much so that I was like, Auntie's retired. I don't do that no more. I don't live in that space, knowing good and well that was a huge chunk of my life for a huge chunk of my life. And so some of us may have a thing that we know and we've seen ourselves do, or that we've dedicated a certain amount of time in our lives to, that we've kind of restricted ourselves because of what life looks like right now. Because I'm this professional, because I work in this type of setting, or, you know, this is what pays my bills, is this structure of being an educator and an administrator, and I can't tap into that world anymore. But this is like, no. You are forever a creative. God gave me this platform to create because I'm a creative and I'm a visionary. And so that was just a reminder of how we can trick ourselves so easily. Like, girl, you know you love dance. You know you'll go in there. You'll probably be a little rusty. You need to start stretching now. I probably need to start stretching now if I go. But stop convincing yourself that what you've seen for yourself is no longer a thing. And so I want us to think about that. What is that thing that you get a vision for, that you see so clearly? Like me with this platform, you with the thing that you do, you with your business idea, you with the movie that you want to create, you with the book that you want to write, you with the speaking engagements that you want to do. What have you sort of pulled yourself out of? Because if I have these kids, I can't do that. Because I'm going through a breakup, I can't do that. Because my finances don't allow me to, I can't do that. And even still, you can. You understand me? I'm recording this using a microphone that maybe costs less than $30. I'm recording this on my cell phone. I have my MacBook that I've had for like 10 years that I'm using right now, using GarageBand to record this. And so you still can. We trick ourselves because of what life looks like. Once I get some more money, then maybe I can do this. Once I get this promotion, then maybe I can do this. You're not tricking anyone but yourself, and you're cheating the world of the gift that you have been given. Stop finding excuses for what you already know to be certain. And so I want you and me, hold me accountable, because I told you I'm living in this space where I'm still doing it, even if the vision is still the mission, even if you don't have the finances you want, even if you don't live in the space that you want. For a long time, y'all have been missing me on this platform because I've been saying I want a podcasting studio. And when I get my podcasting studio, I'm going to take off. I'm going to have the guests. I'm going to do the things. And listen, I'm in a corner of my apartment right now. And I am recording Universal T's The People's Podcast, because it's The People's Podcast now. And it's The People's Podcast when I get on the platform where I know I'm going to make it to. You know what I'm saying? And so I really had to think about, what was it that was keeping me from stepping into this? What was it that was keeping me? And it really had more to do with everything on the outside. It had more to do with me comparing my podcast to the ones that I see. When I look at other podcasts and people doing big things, and I'm like, if it can't be like that, then I can't do it. It must not be for me. And it's like, no, you have the voice, you have the gift to speak and to reach the masses. You just have to do it with what you have. And we forget that God wants us to be a good steward of what he's given before he excels us. If I can't handle this, how can I handle that? Okay? And so, what I want us to first think about is the vision, right? And I know you know what the vision is because you keep pushing it to the side. But what part of it have you been tricked into believing in? What is happening in your world? Is it your finances? Really take some time and mapping it out. What are you saying to yourself every day? What are you telling people when they ask you about the thing? When people ask me about universal teasers, oh, I don't have a studio, or I don't have enough room, or I don't have this. What is it that you're constantly using as an excuse for not doing the thing that you know you've been called to do? What challenges are you using as an excuse to not do the things that you know you've been called to do? We face challenges. Have you just been told no? Every no gets you closer to the yes. And sometimes every no pushes you closer to creating your own yes. We have to stop waiting for opportunities and build them. Maybe nobody's creating the space, or no, maybe there's not a space that you feel is for you, is because you're the one to create it. You know what I'm saying? And maybe you're using this seeking of a space to distract you even more. And I'll say this. I was on a call today, and there's a group where I am, and it's like a group for business women, right? And so I was on the call and realized very quickly that it wasn't very aligned. And then it clicked, right? Because as I'm on this call, I started working on these show notes. Because what I realized is that I was just looking for another thing to give my attention to that would take me away from this thing. And so you're looking for validations in groups, in organizations, and in cohorts, and in spaces, and in networking events, and that's taking you away. I had to be real with myself in that moment. It clicked for me, and this was just hours ago, by the way. What time is it? This was maybe like 2 hours ago, and I had the realization of like, girl, you just looking for something else to validate that you are worthy to be a voice where you are. When in all actuality, if you focus on the vision that you were given and fulfilling that, you have a voice that'll transcend what this group could even do for you. And so being honest with myself in that, we sometimes also think that our mental health takes us away from some of the things. Our mental health we use as a distraction. And here's what I mean, because I'm an avid therapy goer myself. What I'm saying is we sometimes allow our minds, right? And when we're in a negative space, so I'm thinking about the anxiety, the depression, and we start to really believe that we are not capable. When actually, in all actuality, you're in charge of your thoughts. You're in charge of the things that you entertain. You have to not get stuck there. Understand where you are, but also think about where it is that you're called to go. And so we can't let that stop us. We may need to slow down. We may need to change the pace. We may even need to change the direction. But don't change the fact that this is your thing. Okay? And so the question that it brings up for me is, we get distracted, yes, but why? Right? And so as I sat with the why, the question that came up is, are you firm on what your mission is? Are you very clear on what it is that you are called to do? Because I, quite frankly, am still in a space where I'm trying to figure this out. Right? I question, like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Or I see something done a different way and I'm supposed to do it like that, and I'm supposed to upload this much, and I'm supposed to, the algorithm and listen. Be very clear on what you are called to do. And I'm going to walk us through some steps on how to get clear. Because sometimes the distraction is just the information. Sometimes the distraction is the advice. Sometimes the distraction is trying to create this routine, or doing it this way, or meeting these marks that are stamped by people who you don't even know. So what I want us to do when we're thinking about what it is that's taking us away from our mission is figuring out if you're very clear on, is this your mission? Or is this just the next thing that's trending online? Or is this just a culmination of the advice that people give you, or what other people are saying you should do, or how other people are saying you should act, or how other people are telling you to get to your goals based on how they got to theirs. How they gonna do that? How are you gonna take advice from somebody on how to get to your vision when it's starkly different? How is it that your goal is to be an author and write a book, but you taking advice from someone who is a chef? And not to say that the advice isn't there, but just thinking about how they got to theirs may not look exactly like yours. Take it and learn how to discern information. Because people can come with pure intention, but you have to understand what your mission is. My mission is this thing. And yes, the advice you're giving me worked for you, but I got to figure out how to piece that up to me. I got to figure out what works for me. And so what I want you to do, because sometimes we prematurely go into seeking advice and seeking counsel, because that only distracts us. It confuses us on what we should be doing. I've been on a path before in this platform and podcasting. I've been on a roll, right? Getting engagement, getting people bought in, knowing what I want to do, just the ideas flowing out of me. And then I see something, or I hear a different strategy, or I hear one of those gurus on Instagram giving advice on how you can grow your podcast. How should you be? This is the setup you need to have. This is the way that you need to. And then I feel like I'm not doing it right. I feel like I'm not going to get to where they are because that's not how I'm going about it. But I'm very clear on my mission here. I'm very clear on what Universal Teas is. Universal Teas is a place that is authentic. Universal Teas is raw. It's real. It's where you can leave your credentials at the door. I'm not trying to climb to meet other people's needs. I'm just trying to fulfill what it is that's been placed inside of me. Universal Teas is for people like you. Whoever it is that's watching this, whenever it is that you're watching this, and I have to understand that the way that I get there is very unique. It's not going to make sense to some people. Some people are not going to agree with it. Some people are going to say, I should do this a different way. And also, I notice when you start getting into your flow, here's something else you want to be very leery of. When you start to get in your flow and people start to see what you're doing and people start to tap in, I was getting all types of unsolicited advice. Okay, on how to do what I do with good intention, I'm sure, but I noticed that when I would get advice, there was two things that were happening, maybe more. One, it was people that were just trying to ride the coattail because they felt as though I was going to be able to become something. And two, it was people who saw other ways that it was being done and advising me on how to do it, and you should do this and you should do that, and actually if you want to grow you gotta and I had to say, listen, my goal is not growth, it's consistency, it's authenticity, it's realness. And so with that, I know that I'm gonna get to where my mission called me to be. We have to understand how we can respectfully take advice or listen to advice. You don't got to use it all the time. Thank you for that. I'll consider. I'll think about it. Saying those things and moving on. You don't have to take every piece of advice you get. You do not, friend, have to take every piece of advice you get. You can just say thank you and move on about your day. Okay? And so when I talked about being firm in your mission, I want us to think about, I want to walk you through getting there, getting very clear and firm on your mission, because sometimes we're just clouded by the noise. Okay. And so I want us to take a detox. Okay. Take a detox from the noise and take inventory on yourself. If you are not clear what your mission is, you need to detox. If you can't hear or decipher what it is that you need to be doing, it's because you're doing too much to try to figure it out. I'm a very big believer in that what is for us will come to us. We don't have to force it. We don't have to search for it. And in some instances, we don't have to work hard. You don't have to work hard for finding what your thing is. But once you discover it, you go hard in it. I'll say that again. You don't have to work hard to discover what your thing is. You don't have to work hard to uncover what you're called to do. But when you do figure that out, you do have to go hard in that thing in order to fulfill it. You know what I'm saying? Universal teas ain't where I know it could be because I haven't gone hard like I know I can. And so that's what we get confused. We think finding our thing means going hard. That's where the hustle happens. But no, once you find your thing, that's when you start to hustle. Because if you hustling to find a thing, that means you hustling backwards. Stillness, peace, calm, routine. That is when the thing that is yours finds you. That is when you start to hear God's voice. That's when you start to feel in yourself. That's when you start to see the world through your lens. Is when things are peace. So I'm challenging you, if you are in a space like I have been for a while, struggling to define what your mission is, not being very clear on it, like finding the thing that you like, and that's another thing. You may find a thing that you like or something that you're good at, but that doesn't mean that's your calling. It may just be a hobby. But in order to find what your calling is, what your mission is, to be able to clearly see your vision without distraction, without interruption, without something clouding how you perceive that thing, you have to take a detox. And you have to take inventory on what you're picking up within yourself. What I would suggest, taking a detox from social media. Baby, that algorithm will tear you down. Especially if you're in a place that's not stable. Because it just feeds us whatever it is that we clicking on. If you're sitting on it too long. There's a little documentary on Netflix that talks all about how these social media sites keep you on them and they keep you comparing and they keep you second guessing yourselves. Take a break. Start with 24 hours. I've done maybe like a month before, but take a break from social media. Take a break from social engagements. If you're one of those people that has to be at every community event, every networking event, you trying to figure out where the shot callers and the ballers are in your neighborhood and your community. If you're at every social circle, you got to be on every committee. You trying to be a part of every board. Take a break. I'm pushing myself to sit down. I'm pushing myself to create a schedule for me that has leisure in it. Anytime that I start to get overwhelmed and unclear and I was about to say disdained, but that's not what I meant. Or when I just feel like I'm starting to spin my wheels and just feel down on myself a lot, I have to pause. I don't need to go to no more social events. I don't need to be on social media. And I stopped seeking advice. Because everybody's advice only comes from their own scope and perspective and where they are in their lives. So take some time to just be. Go to work. Spend time with your kids and your family. Go home. Find a new show to watch. And don't trick yourself into believing that you're being lazy. Don't trick yourself into believing that you're going to fall behind. I'm a huge believer, and I've been saying that I'm a huge believer in a lot of things, but I'm a huge believer in when we slow down and we listen, that takeoff is going to be intentional. That takeoff is going to be exponential versus just a whole lot of motion with no progress. Don't get into a cycle where you feel like because you're moving, you're progressing. And that takes a lot of discipline sometimes, because I've been in spaces where people are in hustle mode. They're in grind mode. And I'm like, dang, should I be moving that much? Should I be at the networking event? Should I be trying to join the cohorts? Should I be? You have to accept where you are, regardless of what's happening around you. Take a detox. Take inventory. While you're on this detox, you may want to journal how you feeling every day. You may just want to pay attention to the things that pique your interest in the world outside of the social media, outside of the social interactions, outside of the advertisements that are consuming us. Start to take inventory on what piques your interest. Start to take inventory on what naturally is downloaded into your mind. At a live event I just did, I talked about how ideas for this platform are kind of like downloaded into me, right? Like I get a vision for something, and I see my visions as like a FaceTime call from God. Cause he's showing me, I ain't there yet. Just like when you on FaceTime, like the person ain't there to touch, but you know that they're there. Same thing with the vision. I feel like that's God FaceTiming us. And all we have to do is get there and be determined about getting there. And not being frantic, knowing that you're going to get there and not being frantic about it. And so when you detox, that's what taking inventory looks like. And so when you do take inventory, when you do detox, when you do step away and comfortably, when you're doing your detox, don't shame yourself for not going and not sticking to the diet and not going to the gym every day, because that might not even be what you need to be doing to show yourself discipline and routine. Because that's something for me too. Like I've measured discipline and structure for my life based on what someone else's structure and routine has to look like. And maybe that's not the place where God needs you disciplined. Maybe God needed me disciplined recording a podcast. Okay? And I have not been listening. So I'm going to feel unfulfilled every time. And so don't second guess the vision when it comes to you. Because it's going to. In your season of detox, in your season of just intentional living, you get the vision, don't second guess it. Maybe this isn't for me. Or I don't got the time. Don't start to feed the distraction. I don't got the time for that, but I don't got the money. Accept it and move in it. Don't waste time trying to figure out why this came to you. Just accept it and move in it. No matter how fast or slow, move in that. The enemy wants to distract us, wants us to second guess what it is that we've been what we've downloaded, right? From what we've seen. And so don't do that. And move, like I said, at your own pace. Not paced. Child, it's late. I told y'all I don't feel the best. But move at your own pace and trust yourself. Accepting means like, okay, that's mine. I'm going to get it. Because once you've accepted the download that you've gotten, you know you're going to get there. You trust yourself to get there. You have faith that you're going to get there. So you don't really need. So now when you go to seek counsel and you seek advice, it's not someone advising you on whether or not that's your thing. You're going to know specifically with podcasting, what is the best camera? What is the best microphone to use? Now the advice that you're seeking is very, very narrowed to what it is you know you're going to do. It's not seeking advice on what to do. People can't advise you on that. It has to come to you. You have to give yourself space to feel it. And so once you've done it, now I can advise you on the specific thing that's going to help me get there. Right? Now that I know Universal Teas, the People's Podcast is my thing. And now when I think to expand it, I know how to ask the questions to help me do that. Because I don't need you to validate that I do this. You don't need nobody to validate that you that girl, you that guy, you that person. You don't need nobody to validate your calling. When you're seeking advice, it's seeking advice to make you get there quicker. Or not even quicker, just to help you get there. Okay? And so, in true Universal Teas fashion, I also had to break down these definitions, right? To give us a better, clearer picture of what missions and visions are. Because remember, we are understanding that the vision we've gotten is still our mission, even if life throws something at us, even if we have doubted ourselves, even if we have taken some time off, even if we have stepped away. And so I want us to talk about what the word vision means. So the definition I got for vision is the ability to think about or plan for the future with imagination or wisdom. So getting a vision is not just like, that's so Raven, I saw the future, it's going to happen, right? Having a vision for yourself, having a vision for your life, having a vision for what you want your experience here to be is literally a plan for the future. It's like, this is what I'm going to do and this is how I'm going to do it. And you have to be imaginative, and being imaginative taps into our childlike nature, which we tend to forget, right? As we get older, we tend to forget our childlike imagination, and children believe that they can be anything until life starts to show them otherwise or tries to convince them of other things. Get back into that imaginative state. It's okay to imagine and dream big. It's okay to say that you're going to have the number one best-selling book. It's okay to say that you are going to be a 5-star Michelin chef. It's okay to say that you're going to have the most influential business. It's okay to say that this podcast is going to be worldwide. It's going to reach a lot of people starting right here and right now. It's okay to imagine. So when you have a vision, you have to imagine, and also making sure that you are doing so with wisdom. And so I had to look up a little bit further. What does it mean to be wise? And this is having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. You've trusted yourself, right? You're wise because you have experience. A lot of times when we step into something, I've had experience of joy, of pain, of hurt, of failure. I've had experience speaking on a platform. I've had experience with this podcast. And so I can imagine myself being better. I can get to the vision. The vision that I have is my plan based on what I've already imagined, and giving myself permission to imagine, and on the experiences that I had, and on my good judgment, because I've learned to trust myself, because I've done that detox, and I've gotten the download, and now I trust myself. I trust this thing that I've seen. I trust this thing that I believe in because I know it's mine. Okay? And so that's vision. When I think about a mission, right? We know that a mission is to go and do something, right? We think about Mission Impossible, or I don't know, other shows with missions. Spy Kids, they go on missions. I don't know. But this definition that I got is a mission is a strongly felt aim, ambition, or calling. I'll read that again. A mission is a strongly felt aim, ambition, or calling. I've been explaining get into your calling this whole episode. And so to know that the mission is something that you feel strongly. And we know we get to that strong feeling by detoxing. And it's an aim, or it's an ambition. So what are you getting at? Where are you trying to go? What is your focal point? Or it's a calling. It's what you've been called to do, and you can't hear the call unless you slow yourself down. Think about when you get a phone call, especially if your phone is on vibrate and you lost your phone. What do you make everybody around you do? They get quiet. In order to identify your mission, you got to get quiet so that you can hear the call. Because you can hear that phone vibrate when the room is dead silent. But if it's too much noise, you turn the TV off, telling the kids and the dog to shut up so you can hear if your phone ringing. And you hear it if it's in the room. Same thing if your phone is on ring. You can't hear it if you at a loud party, at a social event, because it's too loud, right? Give that same reverence to identifying your calling or your mission. Okay? And so I just want to round us up. This episode is called The Vision, which is what you imagine for yourself. Hold on, let me not misquote. The vision is the plan for the future that you've imagined for yourself, and that you've practiced wisdom for. It's still the mission. So that vision that you have for yourself, that things that you've imagined based on your wisdom, or actually, let me quote that correctly. The ability to think or plan for your future with imagination or wisdom. So that's your vision. Is your mission, which is your calling, which is the strongly felt calling or ambition over your life. Even if you take time off, even if you struggled, even if you've been told no, even if you're heartbroken, even if you're broke, even if you're lonely, even if you're scared, the vision that you have been given, that you have seen for yourself, is still your mission, your calling. It's still what you're called to do, even if life right now makes you feel otherwise. And so I'm going to leave y'all with that. Take some time to detox. But listen to Universal Teas, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like this will help you during your detox. But take some time to get quiet. Take some time to just live in a regular routine. It's okay to go to work, go home, watch you a show. If you're unclear on what your vision is, give yourself time to hear. Give yourself time for God to download what it is that you're called to do and run with it at your own pace. You might start off power walking with it, and then jogging with it, then running with it. But move. Okay? I love y'all. Please make sure that you leave a review, that you comment, that you subscribe, that you share this with someone who you feel like needs to hear it. Make sure you subscribe to my weekly newsletter. Follow me on Instagram at Universal Teas. That's Universal TEAS. To get all that information, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I hope to hear from y'all soon. Love y'all. Bye.